Let the games begin, 4. Session des Happy Bet European Darts Grand Prix 2017 und wir starten mit dem BDO-Weltmeister aus dem Jahre 2008. Er hat Premier League gespielt, er ist ein ehemaliger Top-10-Mann, aktuell die Nummer 23 der Welt. Aus Wales, The Spider, Mark Webster! Mark Webster nimmt es auf mit der Nummer 5 der Welt. Er hat eine European Tour im vergangenen Jahr gewonnen. Er hat 8 Major-Titel in seiner Karriere eingefahren. Ein absoluter Motor- und Autofreak. Herzlich willkommen, schön, dass er hier in Sindelfingen mit dabei ist. The Machine, James Wade! Best of 11 Legs werden an diesem Samstagabend natürlich auch morgen gespielt. Das ist das Format auf der European Tour. Das heißt, 6 Legs muss ich gewinnen, um in das Achtelfinale einzuziehen. Und auch den Caller wollen wir herzlich begrüßen. Es ist The Voice, Russ Prix.
Well, welcome back to Sindelfingen in Germany for the second session, the conclusion of round 2 tonight of the Happy Bet European Darts Grand Prix. 3 World Darts Champions on the way this evening. The first of which is on stage right now. It's Mark Webster, the former Lakeside champion, taking on the 7-time major winner and world number 5, James Wade. We also have the reigning world champ, mighty Michael van Gerwen, to come. He takes on Keegan Brown. And the last game of the night features the 2-time world champion Adrian Lewis against Ian White in an all-Stoke affair. Plenty more big names to come besides those lot. Slightly less big names in the commentary box. Myself, Dan Dawson, and Paul Nicholson, a former Players Champion, for the opening match of the night. Mark Webster and James Wade fighting out for the right to face Jelle Klaassen, yet another world champion in this field. Klaassen a winner earlier on this afternoon against Dirk van Dijvenbode. 3,000 fans here at the Glaspalast in Sindelfingen to watch the action tonight. And it looks, from the names that we have on offer, like it could be a very entertaining one.
Ladies and gentlemen, first leg Mark to throw first. Game on!
Yeah, this could be a decent evening. You look at what's on the menu. Wouldn't exactly say this is a starter. It's a pretty good start.
96.
Lefty versus lefty, and you don't get that very often.
No, you certainly don't.
I'm trying to do my research with Richard Ashdown in the back here, and right now we can't think of a lefty versus lefty game without these two in it.
Well, I know a lot of people, if they're having a flutter, they bet on what colour double people are going to finish on. I'd be betting red in every single leg here. Tops and 10s for these two all day long, and they're very proficient.
And twice on Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12s, tops, 10s. You might not see a lot of double 18s and double 16s in this match.
Wouldn't have thought so, but no, these guys can hit any double they want. Just that James Wade, the best double 10 hitter ever. And Mark Webster, when he's playing well, tops and 10s are his preferred route. Ulf, 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 they sing. That's a new one on us. They've kind of adapted it to that old Icelandic chant that we picked up in the European Football Championship that was then transplanted to the World Match Play. Ulf Cedars made it popular again this weekend. The Finn playing his first ever PDC European Tour event. He's won his first 2 games, knocked out Cristo Reyes, and Cristo Reyes always loses to the winner of the tournament, doesn't he?
Bodes well for the Finn.
100.
Who's to say he can't do a Felix?
Wow.
And in Felix, I mean Felix McGrady, who came from nowhere and beat everybody and won a Pro Tour title a few years ago. I think that was back in
40.
Pick a number, any number.
It's around 2008, I know that.
I'll give you that. I can't tell you whether you're right, but
Might have been 2009. Actually, it was 2008. I'm just like Joey in Friends on. I can't make my mind up. I tell you what, Mark will be happy if he hits this 164.
He'd be delighted because he's not really threatened that treble 19. He needed 2 of them. It's better than Webster.
100.
Much better, in fact.
James will require 88.
Oh, missing the big number. Very unlike James Wade, that.
Well, we were saying about the doubles, weren't we, on the colours?
72.
He's left double 8.
He's left a red one, though.
He has left a red one. But then so's Mark Webster.
Game
And he pins it. And Mark Webster does get the first leg on the board. A hold of throw. Largely thanks to that setup shot. Left 164. Awful first dart. 2 perfect ones to follow.
60.
He's always been a great top hitter, Mark, as is James. But in the lead up to World Grand Prix, where Mark has done very well, obviously James has too, winning a couple of times. Mark's told me that he has spent
86.
days just practicing on double top. Nothing else, just tops.
Well, it served him well. Former semi-finalist at the World Grand Prix, the City West Hotel in Dublin.
190.
Here's one for you. This is the European Darts Grand Prix. We have a World Grand Prix. Where do you stand on this event, maybe becoming a double start event?
Well, you know what, people have talked about that Pro Tour weekend ahead of the World Grand Prix becoming a double start one as a warm-up. They held it at the same venue as the Grand Prix itself, as Wade
140.
misses out in the first maximum, groan around the glass palast at that. But I don't see why not. I mean, it would seem strange, bearing in mind that these are used as qualifiers essentially for the European Championship, to have them not all standardised as the same rules. But why not? There's plenty of other tournaments in the calendar. You can make room and keep things a little bit fresh and interesting.
But if you were to have it as a double start event, you'd have to have the qualifiers as a double start.
Well, quite possibly as well. It'd be a bit harsh if you smash your way through the qualifiers and you've got a double start and you realise that you can't hit doubles.
Correct.
Tops for Wade. Double 10. He doesn't miss double 10. He doesn't miss double 10. One apiece.
James Wade. Third leg mark to throw first. Game on.
I don't know what odds you got before this match on every single leg being won on a red-coloured double, but I'd have been fascinated to find out, and I'd have been tempted to have 50p on it were I a betting man.
I'm sure Happy Bet have probably got
96.
that bet somewhere. They'd have to do a bit of digging, but there would be the option of a double 5 in there probably.
Well, there's always that danger.
Indeed. When I was doing the research about the 2 left-handers earlier, we were talking about left-handed major champions. Obviously, 2 of them were on the stage. So puts that in off.
99.
Wade's obviously got a bucket full of majors. Webby's the 2008 Lakeside champion. You've also got a couple of others.
81.
Hit me, Nicholson.
Les Wallace, Lakeside champion. And one of Mark Webster's old roommates. Believe me, when those 2 guys get together, it's carnage. Martin Phillips.
59.
Martin Phillips, I believe we've seen him play at the Grand Slam of Darts. Something that James Wade made the final of not very long ago.
60.
Produced the rather astonishing feat. I really didn't think it could be done in the modern game, making a major final without throwing a single 12-dart leg or better. Astonishing. He did throw some in the final. He was beaten, of course, by Michael Van Gerwen. Just the 2 big TV titles that Michael Van Gerwen does not currently hold. One that he didn't turn up to, the UK Open. Peter Wright has that. As Wade fires in. The first maximum of this game. Leaves himself 80. May only get 1 dart at a double. Often only needs 1 dart at a double, James Wade. The other one, Michael Van Gerwen, does not hold the course for Champions League of Dart. New one. Bill Taylor, the holder. 2 darts at double for Wade.
Game shot.
And he doesn't miss double 10.
James Wade. Full leg James to throw first. Game on.
Very Wade-like performance so far. Efficient. Get to a double, hit it. But in order for him to win this title, he's really got to be playing as well as he did around about this time last year when he won in Hamburg.
Yeah, well, that was his 2nd Euro Tour title. He's, well, you have to look, he's won dozens of titles, James Wade. obviously the 7 major ones, but Players' Championship events all over the place. And Webster, we've seen this before from Webster, where he gets frustrated with his throw and will just throw a dart in anger. Although I've seen him do this. I saw him do it in a Pro Tour game in Dublin, and literally the next 2 visits are almost perfect. He went 180 and took out a ton plus finish in the next 2 visits. It's almost like it's a cathartic thing for him. He gets out of his system, and then he can get back to playing how he knows he can. Madness.
Well, that was the method. Absolutely brilliant. And it shows just how much mental strength he has. Nothing wrong with that as well. Can he do another one? Go on, Webby. Of course you can.
Astonishing. A man who 30 seconds ago didn't know how to throw his darts has thrown back-to-back 180s. Oh, James Wade very nearly slamming the door in his face. Now, Mark Webster, 6 perfect darts in a row after he threw one away in anger. Treble 18 for tops. Oh. As quickly as it came back, it disappears again.
78.
Look at that, decent setup shot in the end from Mark Webster, leaves double 18, and he's got a real chance of levelling this game. But James Wade has made a career out of taking out of these shots.
36.
Well,
Marking required, 36.
Well, it was straight enough, but had a bit too much juice in it. Double 18. Said we wouldn't see too many of them in this match, but we might see a double 9.
34.
That's a good leave.
well,
James required 40.
I fancy James might take this away.
double 10. I keep saying, he doesn't
James
miss
on
double
the
10.
flag. James Wade, 5th leg marked.
That wasn't just in the middle of the double 10, that was in the middle of the middle. That was like the epicenter of everything in double 10.
Yeah.
It's so good.
That hit the central
48.
atom of double 10. 3 legs 1, 3 on the spin, 3 on double 10. James Wade, the master of doing enough. Often just enough. But it is, right now, just enough against Mark Webster, who's in there again, though.
121.
When you were saying just enough there, for some reason I've got a finger of fudge in my head.
Well, it is just enough to give the kids a treat.
Well, last night Mark was up against it with the crowd, wasn't he, with Bernd Royth?
Well, yeah. I mean, he was visibly emotional at the end of that game. Up on stage being interviewed by Elmar, he was put through the ringer by this German crowd. It's even bigger here tonight. He'll be delighted he's not facing a host nation qualifier. Or somebody like, say, Peter Wright, whom the crowd just absolutely adore over here. But Wade, 140 leaves 81 for a potential 11 darter. Webster can't go out on 192, and Wade will have a chance of going 4-1 up. Now, James Wade, he can put himself in commanding positions, but he doesn't necessarily, doesn't always convert it. Let's just see if he can go 4-1 up here. He needs a bullseye to do it. And he's not able to hit it. To Mark Webster, 12 for tops, surely.
Great chance. And see all of the bed and still see all of it. Just composing himself a little bit.
32.
It's not meant to be on this occasion. But James has got a tricky little 31. I fancy he'll probably go 11 for double 10. Hasn't missed it yet, has he?
Well, when he hit it 3 times. Oh, he does miss double 10. My mistake.
21.
And he does miss double 5 as well.
Required 20.
Mark Webster doesn't miss double 10 though, does he?
We'll find
Between them, they don't miss double 10.
Game shot,
Of course
fifth
not.
leg. Mark Webster, 6th leg, James.
Well, someone's popular.
I get the feeling the camera probably wouldn't be on her if she was wearing a Teletubby outfit.
Maybe not, but I think she's got 3,000 fans here in Sindelfingen singing directly at her.
100.
What an appropriate chant. Good camera angle shows how James Wade starts going the board.
60.
How he tries to build them together. Not his best visit. Mark's a little bit more upright. Lovely adjustment to the left of that first dart. What he wants to do is he wants to compact them by putting them underneath each other, which is essentially what James wants to do as well.
Yeah, and you can see Wade's going a bit low with his first dart, which makes it a bit harder, but because his don't stand up so much, he does have the option of going over or under them. He'd prefer to go underneath them, but he can go over the top, a bit like, say, Terry Jenkins, whose darts are not quite perpendicular to the board, but does give him the option of going either way.
But one thing James does very well, very much like Mervyn King and Peter Wright, I would say they're the best three in the world at moving along the oche and adjusting. Just like that. Look at that for an adjustment. Didn't even flick the flight. Sensational.
Surgical stuff from the machine.
Don't you love it when they prove you right?
Wow. Sometimes, occasionally, it sounds like we know what we're talking about.
100. James will require 105.
105 plays 102. This is the sort of thing that James Wade revels in taking out. He revels in it.
65.
But Mark Webster will get a go at the 102.
This will be a game changer.
It could well be. It has to be treble 14, surely. And it is treble 14, and that leaves double top. For 3-all.
82.
Just dipped at the end, didn't it? We saw it on that camera angle. Just a little bit more of a push in that dart. It would have made it. A little less of a push on that one. 2 10s again for Wade.
Normal service resumed on double 10s for James Wade. His fourth leg won. Every single one of them on double 10.
Good switching from Webby.
134.
His treble 19 shooting in his career has been very, very good. I remember when he made his first semi-final at Ali Pali, he did some statistics on his treble 19 shooting, and it was absolutely remarkable. It was a hit rate of about 60%.
Oh, word. Should do the old Bernd Royth and just start on the 19. So that stutter from Webby with that first dart. Good adjustment with his second. Picks up a solid ton.
Did you know there's a lot of players now looking at statistics of matches like this? They're putting about 10 matches together and they're looking at their hit rates on certain parts of the board, trying to see what they're doing well and what they're not doing so well, and so they can enhance practice regimes. It's starting to get all analytical, this darts malarkey.
It can't do them, well, I say it can't do them any harm. Sometimes the worst thing a dart player can do is start thinking. They just want to play almost on instinct.
Well, you mentioned yesterday when Mervyn King was playing Dimitri Vandenberg, he was told with his statistics that he was one of the best double top shooters in the world. But he never leaves it. But when he does leave it, he hits it.
Good setup shot from Mark Webster. It's a very solid leg, this, as he looks to close that gap. Did miss a dart to level the game at 3 apiece, after Wade had taken a 3-1 lead. I did mention that Wade he can throw away leads. We saw it in the European Tour earlier this year as Webster looks to close the gap here with tops. And does do. 14-dart leg.
8 leg James.
Yeah, he was 5-1 up against Darren Johnson.
He was actually 5-0 up against Darren Johnson and ended up losing it 6-5 in what was a baffling moment. Darren Johnson's probably been playing the darts of his life this year. But even so, come back from 5-0 down to win 6-5 against one of the top players ever. Well, that's quite something.
34.
You see the averages there. 92 plays 92. There is the James Wade formula, which usually works out as opponent's average plus 1 equals James Wade's average, being the master of doing just enough. It's not quite that exact formula there, but you wouldn't bet against it reaching it by the end of this game, just because it has happened so often. However, I may have said exactly the same thing when Darren Johnson was coming back at him, expecting James Wade to just nip in there with a 13-dart leg on throw somewhere that was enough to get the job done, and it never happened.
Tell you one thing James Wade is good at, and that's a last leg shootout. I might have said it before on our commentary on the European Tour, but I think it's one of his strongest qualities. Get him in one leg shootout when it's 5-5, and I would hasten to say probably 80 to 90% of the time he will get the job done, whether he's got the darts or not. He just finds a way.
It's timing, isn't it? Finding a great leg of darts when you need it in that particular context. James Wade, of course, the man who nearly had 2 9-darters hit in succession against him by Michael van Gerwen at the World Championship. James Wade won the set. They didn't really mean anything, those almost back-to-back 9-darters, because James Wade won the set, because that's what James Wade does. 80 for Webster to break and level the game. Only going to get 1 dart. And it's 1 dart at tops, and he moves across to the right to make sure he doesn't hit those first 2 darts. And he doesn't hit them, but he doesn't hit the target either. 1-2-1.
This is the kind of thing he does.
Treble 17 is needed. And treble 17
not meant
is
to be
not
tonight,
hit.
no.
Oh, and then he's just... That's very odd for James Wade to have rushed that last dart and missed what he was aiming for. Oh, that's a little bit awkward.
It's like a brick wall now.
Game shot.
Of course it's going to go in.
Webster,
4-4.
Mark to throw first.
And he's got the throwback.
Every single leg has been won on tops and 10s. 8 legs won so far. Don't know if anybody did have that there.
I guarantee that someone's going to have it next time they play.
Worth a go, isn't it?
You just see the bookies now at home don't offer that bet. It's like when Mervyn King plays someone who, like Kim Hyrex, for instance, who loves double 16. They're likely to have maybe 11 legs on green doubles.
They could well do.
But there's more chance of it all being red in this game, because obviously the split double is 10, which is red, from tops, whereas with 16s to 8s it's green to red, so there's less chance of it.
And they leave 64 a lot, and if they hit the treble 16 it's double 8, isn't it? But even so, Merv will leave double 16 every available opportunity. No Mervyn King here today, though. Former winner of this Happy Bet European Darts Grand Prix is the King, but he was knocked out in round 1 by the young Belgian Dimitri van den Berg, who's on stage at the end of this game against Gerwin Price.
92.
And we don't know when this game is going to come to an end. It's got a maximum of 3 legs. It may only take 2, but it could be 2 legs and James Wade is waltzing into the final day of action, or it could be 2 legs and Mark Webster is stuttering into the final day of action. And that makes it a little bit more likely that it is the Welshman.
I think Mark's played very well here.
Well, it's actually been of a better standard that he produced against Bernd Roy. Maybe that's partially down to the crowd having less to say to Mark Webster tonight and more to say to a female darts fan in the audience somewhere. Oh, he's missed a big number there.
And he looks at James Wade's score of 110 and you just think, oh, it's such an unfortunate bounce out. He's looking for 60-10 tops. Now he's going to go treble 18, is he? No, it's going to be double 15, a green double.
95. Mark requires 65.
Right next to his favourite one, but unable to find it. Now, Mark Webster. 25. Oh, well, he's hit the 10 there. 15. 1 dart for a 5-4 lead. And Mark Webster does pin it this time. He does go into the lead. He led at 1-0, but he found himself 3-1 and 4-2 down. And Mark Webster, somehow, a man who halfway through this game threw a dart away in anger because he couldn't throw them properly, has somehow turned this around.
It does happen, you know, when sometimes you fling a dart away, sometimes not in anger, but I remember when Jamie Caven played Simon Whitlock at the European Championships. And Whitlock was so far behind that he tried to ping a fly in the tyre around the board. After that, he played sensationally well.
7 straight legs in a row, wasn't it, I think?
I'm not condoning throwing darts away in frustration.
Or killing animals,
No.
people. This is not a PDC or PDC Europe approved tactic. If you're 4-0 down, don't sacrifice a goat and then think it'll inspire you to come back. You're not Ted Hankey.
No satanic rituals, thank you.
140.
But more importantly, James Wade has responded a bit here. After 3 visits to the board, he has left a finish. Mark Webster is hoping to do the same, but needs 2 perfect darts. And he's not got that, so James Wade knows 6 darts from 161 to take us all the way to one of those deciding legs at which he is so proficient. And he's staying up there, and he's going to hit a single one here to lead tops.
121.
Great leg of darts from James Wade. One of the reasons why he's world number 5. And look at the average. It's 90 for Wade, 89 for Mark Webster. The James Wade formula is in effect.
James require 40.
For 5-5 then. Double 10, surprise, surprise.
Oh.
30.
Well.
Mark's got a shot for the match.
67.
It's a big one.
Well, this would be the shot of the weekend if this goes. To deny James Wade a chance. Oh, just a little bit low. This will be a decent setup.
102.
Good dart. Puts this double 5 under pressure.
That's no use to him.
Game
But
shot
that
at
is
10
there.
back.
And James Wade does take us all the way. And as I said at the start of this, if there's a market offered on every single leg being won on a red double, do not bet on it. Do not. It would be a silly decision. But what a start. Oh, unlucky from Mark Webster. Now then, James Wade, what have you got? This is what you've battled for to get to this deciding leg. We said you were good at
60.
these, James Wade, but that's only a 60.
Good start from Mark. He's putting everything into this. And you can't tell me that Mark Webster does not want to keep playing, because that is perfect.
74.
Absolutely phenomenal stuff from Mark Webster. He knew he'd have the advantage of throwing first, but he also knew he would have to make full use of it against James Wade. And the quality of those first 2 visits, that has probably played a significant factor in James Wade not producing.
I'd say so.
46.
Just the 46. It is enough to get to a finish. A 158 though. But he's going to have plenty of time, it looks like.
He needs a 140.
100.
Just a
Mark,
ton
you
is not
require
enough.
158.
It is not enough. Mark Webster. He'll just look to set this up, surely. Certainly will now. He would take a ton here.
I'd go downstairs now. Maybe stay there. 96 is lovely.
58.
58 squares it up lovely. So he can come back, potentially hit a 60 and leave his favourite. Forces Wade to hit a huge number.
These two haven't met for a year. When they did meet at the start of last year, Mark Webster won, but it was his first win over James Wade for 2 years and 8 games. This would be a significant victory for the Welshman against a man who has beaten him 14 times in his career, and he's got 1 dart, a double 10.
80.
And he misses outside. 1 match start missed. James Wade has got to a finish, but it is an enormous one. And it is not going to go. More match starts for Mark Webster, and James Wade could be about to go out in the second round and join a list of seeded players who've exited early. Alan Norris, Christo Reyes and Simon Whitlock failed to get past their opening matches, and James Wade will join them if Webster hits double 10. Which he does! A 6-5 win for Mark Webster. The former Lakeside World Champion sees off James Wade. Another leg won on double 10. And I think there's a bit of afters. Wade not a happy man, Webster not a happy man, but it's Webster who is through to the third round, he will face Jelle Klaassen in a battle of two former Lakeside champions, and after struggling to get past Bernd Royth, Webster somehow found a way to beat Wade. We'll perhaps find out what that little fracas was about. And then it's another Welshman on the way. Gerwyn Price taking on Dimitri van den Berg here at the Happy Bet European Darts Grand Prix.
Am Entscheidungstag mit dabei. Mark, congratulations. I just say it was not the spectacular match we've ever seen, but you beat the number 5 in the world, and that's a great win.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I was a bit frustrated in the beginning. I threw a couple of darts away. He was a bit annoyed with that, but it's his job to jump on that. You know, he's having a go at me at the end there. I'm sure we'll sort it out. I'm not playing well. I drag players down. That's what I do at the minute. I'm afraid. I'm not apologising because I want to win. I want to try and get out of this slump. And if I can pinch a victory against the world number 5, I'll take it. I'm not apologising for anything. I've won the game and look forward to tomorrow now.
Is it difficult to say, okay, that's a great win for me because he was the number 5 and it gives me self-confidence, or is it more like, oh, I didn't play that well?
It's difficult in the sense I'm really struggling. It's dark ISIS. I struggle with it. I'm all over the shop. Maybe I put players off, but it's not intentionally. I don't want to throw like that. It's awful, you know what I mean? But I'll take wins. You know, I've got to play through it, and if I can pinch a win here and there, I'll take it. So yeah, I'm not too I'm concerned about my action, but when you're playing through it, if you can take some positive from somewhere, you take it.
See you tomorrow again. Thank you, Mark. Mark Webster.